What have we got now?
If you haven't watched part 1 and 2 yet, and this is the first part you've watched, please watch them first. Because it will be, you won't know what's happening. You won't know what's happening if you only watch this part. You need to watch part 1 and then watch part 2.
Oh, so I
Like and subscribe, otherwise I'll throw a spoil at your head.
I will punch you in the neck.
Not for real, but peace. Okay, peace, sign up. Peace.
I don't. Right, so I bought this. It's shielding paint, you know. It's to cut out any electrical interference inside of the guitar, you know, feedback and stuff like this. They do use this, and I bought this first, but then I heard that this was better. I think it was my son actually said that this was better. So you totally enclose, you know, those of you who've opened a guitar before will know that it's generally got this inside of the cavity where the electronics go. And you're supposed to enclose the whole cavity, and it keeps everything inside of there free from any kind of interference, outside electrical interference. But this has a sound hole, you know. This has the F holes in it. So I'm not sure how well it's going to work, you know. But anyway, because I want to paint the inside black anyway, because you can see the through the sound holes, I thought I might as well use this paint, you know. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do here. Okay, so I've probably got to give it another coat. I would definitely say I would, and I'm gonna see if I can paint inside of there. Yeah. But yeah, another coat or two, and of course this side's glued on already, so I've got to paint inside of there because I'm an idiot. And I've got to leave gap here because I have to glue this onto the edge of this, you know what I mean? This thing, yeah. So yeah. So I want to put a piece of plain black binding down the centre of the back of the guitar because the join is quite noticeable. So I'm just taking the back off a bit of double-sided tape here, and the jig that I made to inlay the truss rod will be ideal for to cut the recess for the binding. Right, so I just got through wiring this thing up, and I didn't bother recording it, you know, because it's boring and you know, boring, and I want to take it next door and bring you guys along with me, and yeah. And you know, it's gonna be like a viewer anticipation. I bring you guys along with me for the excitement of the unveiling of the I don't know why I just don't tell the truth. Volume pots that are worn out. You did this about 17 times and failed every single time. You videoed it. You got sick of videoing it, so you stopped videoing it. What's that? What's that supposed to be? You're a liar. That's not true. Just shut your mouth. You're an idiot. Anyway, right, let's see if this works. Jack in the back. Right, so the pickups aren't screwed in, so the pickup was touching the tone doesn't work. Oh God. Right. Right. I shall not be defeated. Jesus H Christ, man, what the heck have I got to do here? Right. Everybody do this. Everybody who's watching, do this right now. Because every other time it's worked with the top off. And then I put the top on, and for one reason or another it doesn't work. But hopefully. We'll have a look at it. Well, that pickup definitely works. I'll try the middle. So these two have to work then. So them two work. And this is the bridge pickup, the neck pickup. And it does everything. Thank you for everyone doing that. Mind. Right, I can glue this down now and finish the thing. As you can see from the previous attempts on the video, that the other guy, you know, him there, he wasn't exaggerating when he said I did this 17 times, and then there's the other 3 more attempts that I've videoed, thinking that it was good, and it just, you know. So yeah, I've got to thank a few people, you know. First of all, my son Nick, who's a legend, because he's done nothing but try to problem solve with me with everything, in fact, on this guitar. So Nick, I love you, you're awesome. And then my mate Steve, or Qantas we call him, because when he was a young'un he left Australia, where we are now, to come live in England, where I used to be, and he came on a Qantas airplane, and we called him Qantas forever, and I still do call him Qantas. And and he sat with me for 2 nights on video call, and he's a proper whiz-bang genius with electronics, you know. When he was a young'un, 14, he was making huge amplifiers and guitar pedals and all sorts of stuff, you know. And but because, you know, he's remotely trying to see the mess I've made, the second time I rang him, I sat up until 1 o'clock in the morning, and basically he says, let's just start from the beginning and go through it. But unfortunately, I had to go to bed, you know, for work the next day. And so yeah, Steve, thank you for everything that you did. You're a true legend and a great human being. And then eventually I took this wiring diagram. Well, it's not the wiring diagram, it's the operation of the 3-way switch. And if it wasn't for Steve asking me to tell him what the configuration of the switch was, I would never have thought to look there, you know. So thanks for that as well. But anyway, I took this to work, and I literally sat in the back of the car, half the morning, and tried to come up with a way that I could make this switch and operate in the way that it should, with a single coil pickup in a humbucker. And you know, and I took this into the lunchroom eventually, where Zach walked past, and I asked him to have a look at this with me, and he also is exactly the same as me. He knows nothing about electronics, but we bounced ideas off each other, and eventually we came up with this. And Zach did the cherry on the cake, you know. And so thanks to Zach as well. You're another legendary human being. And yeah, it's all glued up now, so there's no going back, you know what I mean? If it goes wrong now, it's firewood. So yeah, there it is. So I've taken off the all the clamps, and I've taped the pickups in because I need to pop them in and out every now and then just to deal with this and that, and I don't want to screw them in. And I'm going to be routing out the recess for the binding that goes around the outside of the guitar, because all the sanding has kind of made that uneven. So yeah, that's what's happening here. So I'm going to put yous on fast forward. So the glue's obviously dried here, and I've taken the tape off and I've given it a quick sand and just rubbed a tiny bit of wax on there so you can see the grain and the binding. And the binding's like a mother of pearl, and there's a couple of spots that I'm not entirely happy with, but overall, yeah, it's pretty cool. So I put a little bit of wax on it and made it pop a bit better. And it's and while it's not perfect or in the middle, I would have liked for it to be a little bit further over this way. But you know what? Who's perfect? Certainly not me. So, by the way, you'll notice that there's a handful of nail holes still visible around the side of the guitar there. And I didn't want to cover them up or try and hide them in any way, because I want people to know that this was once a pallet. And if you notice, there's a couple of quite big knot holes there at the top of the guitar. And I also want to make them a feature. And I'll obviously seal them with something so that nothing gets inside of them or they don't like rot or something like that. But yeah, so if you're thinking about saying something negative about the knot holes and what have you, well, don't. Well, it's actually done it again. It's when the switch is in the back position for this pickup, it stopped working. It works in the middle position. Both pickups work in the middle position, and obviously the top pickup works. But when I have it in the bridge position, it stopped working. And I have no idea why. The only one thing that I can think of is when I was putting the wax on, the pickups were loose in there and I just had some tape on them. But at one point I didn't have the tape on and I turned it around and the pickup fell out and like hung on the wire, but it wasn't very severe, I don't think. You know, the drop was like small, and the fact that the pickup works in the middle position, I just have no idea. So although I said this was going to be firewood, I think what I'm going to do is cut an inspection panel in the back here with this little cutting disc on a Dremel type machine. It's not a Dremel actually, but you know, generically it's the same thing. And yeah, see if I can get inside of there and have a look. So I best put this on because my chest is dying. Right, I've got to think of a way how to get round the corner now. It's free everywhere else, but this is a bit wide. What I could do is probably grind that off and make that smaller, or I could grind a jigsaw blade down so that it's real thin, and kind of saw round the corner by hand. I think that would probably be the best option. There's the jigsaw blade that I ground down. So you can see it was like, what's that size? Crikey, it's gonna be a bit tricky. Oh, it's off. Right. I want to test it now because it all looks good, and the only thing that I can imagine it being was touching the thingy again. Right, big hole in the back now, and it's plugged in, so I can already tell you that pickup is working now with the switch in the back position. Both pickups are working. That pickups, that one. So everything is working now. So, and all as I've done is took that panel off the back, so that means that the switch was shorting out on the back of the panel because it's that close. You know, mistakes were made and lessons were learned, and I will not make a hollow body guitar this thin again, but I will definitely be making more guitars because I've loved the process and the nightmare headaches. But anyway, yeah, I'm still not sure what I'm going to do. I've thinned the piece of wood out so far that I even broke through at one point, so it's wafer thin already. So I'm not sure what I can do unless I thin it down everywhere, put some plastic on the top of it maybe. But then I don't know what I'm going to do. Right, I'm not sure if this is going to work. I put a bit of binding around that, and I drew around it, and then I put the thickness of another piece of tape, another piece of binding on it, and then I have stuck that picture, the drawing on there, and now I've got to sand to the line, but I've got to get rid of this middle bit first. So I think the best way to do it is kind of like just put around it like this. And then sand up to that line. So hopefully it'll work. I think I've only got that much binding. I'm sure I had 2 pieces. Oh, Jesus Christ, can anything else go wrong? Found it. I used this to draw around in the other room. Right, I've had a bit of a change of heart again. Wait, it's a forced change of heart. I don't have an option, you know. Like basically, why the guitar worked when the top was off, and then I tried it on through when the top was on, and it didn't work. Was the switch was shorting out on the shielding pin, you know, because it's conductive. And even though I took this down to, it's 1 millimeter thick in here, and I put varnish on top of that, which was supposed to be non-conductive, it broke through and shorted it out, you know. And the fact that this is 1 millimeter thick, at the thinnest part there, isn't good anyway, you know. It's a liability. All he has to do is wear a belt buckle one day when he's playing it, and it's likely to pop through, so you know it isn't good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make another one out of this, which is the same wood as the guitar, is the same, off the same pallet, you know. And I'm going to make it bigger all the way around, and then it'll just sit on top hole of the access panel, and I'll keep it down with a couple of screws or whatever I can do. And it won't be as pretty or as streamlined, if you like, as that, but obviously I'll take it down to like as thin as I can, probably 3 or 4 mil, you know, and yeah, that's what we'll do. So
this is the end, and there's no more parts.
Okay. Anyway, then, so we hope you enjoyed it, and
Hope you liked it.
I will be putting like the 3 parts together as one long form video for anyone who likes to that kind of thing. But yeah, thanks for watching. You're awesome.
Peace!
That, because it's good stuff.